Okay. First of all, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to present today. All of the speakers, thanks to our sponsors. I mean, first slide, I think all speakers are going to be the same. So we can try to show the sponsors our appreciation for giving us a chance to set up this conference and, of course, being able to tell you what we're going to talk about today. So, what are we going to talk about? First of all, I mean, I'm not a marketing consultant. I've never worked for Accenture. I've never worked for any of the major. My slides are not that pretty. I mean, this is the slides that I put together over the years. They've been using training seminars and trying to some training seminars, trying to my teams, trying to help people getting the same language, trying to get the same discussions, at least that we all understand or agree of what is it that we're all talking about. So that's what this is about. And I really, rule number one, I'm going to break down a lot of slides in here, folks. We're not going to go through all of them. Not even close. We're going to skip through a lot of them. We're going to see where the discussion takes us. And what I'm really hoping is that this is a discussion. I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions. I'm going to hoping to learn as much from you as hopefully you learn a little bit from me. So I'm not an expert of the imagination on this. I think I've learned a little bit of a few things here and there, mostly by beating my head against the wall. But that's it, folks. So hopefully we'll all learn together. First of all, what is value? And here's the key to the discussion. I mean, we keep talking about value. And I mean, who can tell me? I mean, please tell me a definition of value. I mean, I need a volunteer. Who can tell me what value is? Please.
Identification of the customer's desire point, not his pain point.
Okay. Somebody else? Value? No volunteers?
What something's worth.
Okay. Well, I've struggled with it. I have a definition over there. That's the best I've been able to come up with. Mostly, again, by asking people like you, discussions in person, discussions in Twitter, reading here and there. Personally, I came up with two different categories of value. One is a measure of desirability. Somebody wants something. They can want it for a variety of reasons. They want it because it's cool, they want it because their friends have it. It doesn't really matter. It's a desirability factor in value. But then there's also the unmet need factor. I have a need. It's an unmet need. And something perhaps will meet that need for me. So there's an extent of the desirability in it embedded, but there's the unmet need portion. These sometimes cross each other, but in the end, those are the best parameters that are able to be used when we start discussing value. Why is this important? Because if we say we're going to measure value, we need to at least agree that what is it that we're discussing. Today, we're going to be talking mostly about the number two portion. We're not going to be talking much about branding, not much about school, not about that. That's better something. That's a whole separate discussion. We're going to be talking a little more about the unmet need portion, about the specific attributes. How do we measure what the customer is looking for, what they need, and how best our product is going to meet it. So a little bit about innovation. And how does that relate to value? And guys, this is my very personal definition, and I know I've had a lot of fights about this one. What is innovation? Personally, I believe that if something, if it doesn't offer value, is not innovative. You have a new product that does not offer value, is not innovative, it's just new. You gotta offer value for it to be innovative. And that's, again, some people agree with this definition, some people may not agree with this definition. It's just the one I use. The fact that what I call it is innovation exists at the intersection between value and invention. My classic example, we're going to be looking at it in a few minutes, is the Segway. Segway is a wonderful invention. And you all remember the hype at the beginning, oh my God, the Segway, what is it going to change the world? But Steve Jobs himself was out there saying that, oh my God, what happened? Well, it didn't change the world. I mean, perhaps for a few mall cops it changed their world, but why was that? Why didn't it change the world?
Nobody had the need.
We're going to look at it in a minute. Why? I mean, at least my explanation why didn't it change the world. But yes, in essence, there was not a big match between what the product offered and between what the needs were out there. A little bit of an innovation, and this is sort of I'm a devotee of Clayton Christensen. I mean, I've been following his books ever since the very first one. It's been, what, over 10 years ago now? Been a while. But why is that? Because in the end, it's critical that you understand in which space are you playing when you're discussing these issues of value. Why? Because if you're working on an incremental innovation approach, there are certain tools you're going to be using, and we're going to be discussing a lot of this today. When do you use certain tools versus when you use other tools? And that's key to this. There are no perfect tools out there. I'm not going to teach you something that's going to be perfect. It's going to be the solution, the answer for all the problems. There isn't such a thing, folks, and you know that. Well, we have our options. We have our tools that work in certain cases and tools that don't work in other cases. And unfortunately, the problem is that most of the time we have to learn this the hard way by using it and failing. And I'm sure most of you have learned that. Yes?
Isn't the kind of implicit assumption about something like this that you know the universe of use cases ahead of time?
Well,
so you're developing a product and you already know every way that this product's ever going to be used by any customer who ever buys it.
No, no, not really. The key in my mind, and I'll show you in a minute another slide. I think goes a little bit towards answering your question. In my mind, it boils down to of course, you need to pick a market. You need to, which market are you going to play? Where are you going to play? I mean, that you need to have it. At least you need to have that. I mean, if the entire universe is your market, you have a problem. So you need to at least pick a market for whatever reasons, strategic reasons or business. You need to at least focus on a market. Now the question is, when you focus on a market, are you already an incumbent, where you already participate, or are you completely kind of moving in new, totally new? Because there are different strategies that again come back to Clayton, that he feels you must follow if you're going to be successful. In essence, he outlines 3 different strategies. The sustaining technology is, in essence, if you're not an incumbent, all you're going to do is going to bring an incremental innovation, line modification versus existing products, you're going to lose. You're not going to win. Period. I mean, historically, your chances of success long term are practically non-existent. The incumbents will match your product, and you're out. Second strategy, low-end disruption. What he feels is a successful way to going into a new market where you're not incumbent is to offer a different value proposition. That's why I'm bringing this up. What he feels is, in essence, what he describes here is you're entering through the least demanding customers segment on a certain market, and you're offering a different value proposition. Most of the time, what he says is that most customers, the incumbent technology has been increasing in levels of performance, and it creates a segment of customers that's overserved. The existing solutions out there are too much for them, and most of the time too expensive. And the way to be successful is to identify that customer segment that is overserved and that wants a different value proposition. Not necessarily a better product, folks. Let me be very specific. This is a tough discussion to have with the technical folks, and I'm sure you all have it. When you have to tell a technical guy, you need to make a product that doesn't work as well as the competition. And their heads blow up. And absolutely positively their heads blow up. I need a product that doesn't work as well, but I need a hell of a lot cheaper.
It's not that it doesn't work as well, it does less, better.
Yeah, okay, better.
Or different parameters. It's similar. Are you familiar with the blue ocean strategy?
Yes.
And very similar concept, where they took JetBlue or whatever and said, I don't want to give them all these other highfalutin services. I'll take away some services and give them a better experience on other parameters and just change the game.
Okay. Yes. Again, this is not news. This is again, it's been around for a while. To all of you, please.
As an add to this, you're talking about the golden screw from a pricing proposition.
The golden, please.
You put the golden screw in and it turns from a low profile performance device to a high profile. A 10-cent device that turns from a $100 device to a $1,000 device. The golden screw. It's a pricing philosophy. how do you price when a little bit of an additional add can change the performance of the product tremendously?
Okay, that's not quite exactly what I was referring to in this particular case. I know that you're wrong. It's a slightly separate strategy.
It's a different perspective
Yes,
on it.
correct.
You sometimes can create both products out of the same technology
Correct.
with a golden screw.
No question. And yeah, I mean, in essence, we're going to talk about features in a minute, and details about features. And yeah, sometimes you can add on a separate feature that puts in a whole different ballgame in terms of the value proposition. Am I understanding you correctly?
You're in the right ballpark. What comes to mind is, you take a printer and it can print, say, 10 characters per second. With the golden screw, a 10-cent device, it now prints 100 characters per second. And then how do you deal with that in product marketing environment?
Okay.
One little 10-cent device changes.
However, the low-end disruption theory says that there's a market segment that doesn't need not even 10 characters per second, they want 5. But they want 5 4 times as cheap. They don't need 10.
I don't
They
want
want
Microsoft
5.
Windows, I want just a word processing product.
Yes. The low-end disruption says that there is somebody out there that 10 is too much for them. That they want 5 characters per second. Because I want 1. I just want something much simpler, much cheaper, and much, yes.
So Christensen is saying that, well, we want to, like, the low-end distribution,
Low-end disruption.
the disruption is the preferred approach to disrupting the
An
market.
approach. There's no such thing as preferred. It's an approach. And
Okay.
again, he has 2 approaches.
I see.
They're not the only ones. He's not the only innovation offer out
Sure.
there. But yeah, I mean, he's an approach to be successful in a market where there are strong incumbents out there.
Okay.
If you go head to head on a sustainable technology or an incremental innovation, it's a suicide. You will not be statistically, you will not be successful. The incumbents will match you, they'll beat you. Period. You need to find an under or overserved customer segment, for a wholesale different value proposition, a completely different cost proposition, completely different value proposition. It may be a lot less features, a lot less benefits, a lot less services. And that's the approach he recommends. Just simply going along this line of improvement and going along the same line that the competitor company is traveling is suicide. They have too much invested in the existing market. They're not gonna, I always tell the salespersons that their competitors not gonna roll over. I mean, what do you think they're going to do? They're just gonna play dead? Please.
Yeah, so you're really talking about the different value propositions, right? You have a cost proposition, you have the uniqueness proposition where you're the only ones who can do something, or you have the customer intimacy where you have such a good services, like Southwest Airlines, that's one of their big things, right? It's just another one of the propositions you can offer for value is cost.
Correct. And let me emphasize here, we're talking about value, we're talking about price. It's not about just coming in with a cheaper product. It's about offering a different set of offerings that may result in a cheaper product. Yes. But it's not just about coming in with a cheaper, competing along the same line. It's not about, if you somehow have a great technical guy, God bless him, guys, I used to be in the technical area, so. But if this guy came up with an ultra super duper technology that does exactly the same thing at half the price, well, that's wonderful. You're going to win. But if you're hoping on miracles, a miracle is not a strategy. I mean, hoping for miracles is not a strategy. So yes, you could potentially come up with a similar product and an amazing technology that drops the price, it costs them half or 75%. I mean,
You're really talking about addressing a lower set of
exactly. Looking at a wholesale different customer segments, finding a different value proposition to offer to those customers. Yes, not just about offering a cheap product. Second strategy is new market disruption. In essence, what he says is that your product may or can offer a feature that is not currently valued by the existing customer segment. But then you open up a whole new space. And the example he uses a lot is the hard drive example. That's the original chapter, I think chapter 1, whereby the people who used to make, and this goes along the classic, if I had If Henry Ford asked their customers what they wanted, they would have said faster core courses. The same thing on hard drives. When people asked about, at the time the hard drive development was going on, what did people want at the time in hard drive? More storage. More storage. Everybody wanted more storage. Right here. More storage, more storage. Until somebody came up with a much smaller hard drive. Okay, much lower storage, guys. But it completely opened up a new dimension. They didn't have the same capability of storage, they didn't have the same speed, because they were slower, because they have all kinds of different problems. These customers didn't care, they wanted more storage. But guess who wanted smaller hard drives? So that's the laptop market. So the guys who went along this path, even though they were completely low, they couldn't even come close in levels of performance and features to these folks. We opened up a whole new space. By the time these guys realized it was too late. These guys had perfected their technology. They had a completely new market of their own. And these guys were gone. Because eventually these guys caught up on performance with these folks. They were dead. We've talked about it. I'm going to skip this. This is the only point here. Price per unit is irrelevant. Cost and using value is what matters. Feedback from customers. We talked about the fact that talking about features is easy. Talking about the job that the product does is difficult. But that's what we need to be doing. Talking about features and just dealing with features is going to always take you along the path of incremental innovation. Just a slightly different product, just a slightly different tweak on a product. What does the product do? Well, this is not my, partly not on this side. This is a blog from Nick Carpenter. I want to give credit because he just posted it very recently. So I just want to give the right credit. This is not mine. So anyway, the level of difficulty goes up in regards to defining the product. You're defining. You got move away from defining the feature, define what's the job the customer wants to do. There's a saying out there: your customers don't want to buy a drill; they want to make a hole. Just happens that the drill is the best thing to make the hole right now. Somebody else gonna come up with a better something to make holes on these days. Might as well be you. Okay. Okay. Long listing here. I need to bring it up because of some of the examples, supporting some of the examples. Everybody knows about cost plus, competitive pricing, because customer-driven pricing, they tell you what they want to pay. I just want to emphasize a couple of things. Minimum return on investment, and I want to, hopefully we'll have to talk about pharmaceutical pricing, because this kind of puts a lot of things in perspective. You gotta meet minimum return on your investment of all the effort that you're putting in your product development. The pharmaceutical folks, those guys, as you know, struggle a lot with that. Cost and use analysis. What is the cost and use comparison versus the alternative technology? And of course, value use. So we need to move away from cost plus pricing to value-based pricing, and we go along, in essence, along this path. Very quickly, return on investment, and again, I want to spend a lot of time on financials here, but it's critical just because at the end, when I talk about the value box, it's important to keep a reference. Depending on the level of risk, bottom line right down there, your finance folks will demand a higher return on investment. And your project manager needs to know that. You need to deal with it. You cannot just play all these wonderful features and value. That's wonderful and nice. And yeah, finance guy is going to ask for this. And you need to incorporate it in your assessment. You incorporate it in your metrics and how you're going to be measured, how you're going to be pricing your product. It's all because if your value proposition does not meet your minimum return on investment, well, you know you're done. So you got to know. So always, what is the level of risk you're incurring? And your finance folks will demand a minimum return on investment that's got to be higher depending on the level of risk. Type of project, which is organic, like an incremental innovation, some sort of translation, kind of halfway, or scope change, well, the level of risk and the level of the probability of success so much lower, you're better, they're gonna asking you for a much higher return on your investment. You need to deal with this. You know, really with me. So, okay guys, this is, how many of you were here at the product potluck a few months ago in January? Anybody? One, two. Okay, this example I've showed it already. This example I was not countless times. Imagine you're the marketing manager from Gillette. I don't know, 1980s or so, when this disposable was starting to enter the market. Pricing is collapsing. These things are completely taking over the market. You are completely, your profitability and your market share is completely collapsing. And then what do? You go to the, and this, by the way, is somewhat a true story. I actually spoke to somebody who worked at Gillette. I didn't never work there though, but I love this example. Your marketing manager shows up at the board and says, hey guys, I have this idea. I have this idea for this razor. This razor is gonna cost about 5 times what these things cost. But it's going to, not only is gonna stop the erosion in market share profitability we're having, but we're gonna regain market share away from these cheap things. And guess what? We don't have a manufacturing facility to make it. We're going to have to spend millions of dollars to make this thing because we can make it today. What would you do? You're the board.
Throw it out.
Fortunately, they didn't throw this guy out. Fortunately, this guy did his homework. Fortunately, this guy really looked at value. What is it that customers are looking for? And in the end, they weren't really looking just for cheap razors or cheap blades. They had other dimensions of value they wanted to explore. How many of you buy this thing, by the way, here in the audience? Anybody buys this thing?
By the women's version, same
Okay,
or whatever.
Are you insane? I mean, come on, guys.
Talking my wife.
Six times more than the disposable. By the way, I buy it too. I buy the Fusion too, by the way. And I love it, guys. I love it. Why do I love it? I'm sure you guys love it for the same reason. This is incredibly comfortable. That's what I value. And I pay 6 times the price for that thing versus the cheap stuff. And for that matter, I do this an update. This I didn't show the product public. These guys just came up with a package. They went from 4 units to 3 units at the same price. You're still going to buy it? What am I going to do? I mean, I love this. I mean, I wish I had a product that could do this. Yes.
Should switch to Costco.
Yeah.
20 packs, not 3.
You can actually sharpen these on jeans and make them one blade last for 6 months. I've been using the same one, so you can sharpen them on.
Wow.
I've heard the baby oil thing too.
Yeah.
To keep a baby oil, little kind of flask in your shower. I shave in the shower, so you can just plug it, put it back in, and it lasts like forever. Anyway, let me give you a kind of I'm working right now doing some marketing support for a small startup that they're doing iPhone applications. And they have about a portfolio of 10 different apps. And they were struggling, but they're still struggling with this app, but we're working on it. And the competitor's price was $1.99. They put it at that price, they didn't sell. They lowered the price to 99 cents. They sold like 1 in a month or so. So I go in and ask them the following questions, very simple questions. Do you believe that your product is better than the competition? I mean, first of all, your product is the same as the competition? The answer is no. It's not the same. It's a different method, different this, different that. Okay, wonderful. Do you believe the product is better than the competition? Yes, we do. Okay, raise the price. Raise the price. I wanted to raise it to $9.99. Are you crazy? $9.99? I mean, all the apps in the iPhone are 99 cents, whatever. Okay, $4.99. $2.99. Okay, $2.99. They sold about 20 in the last 2 weeks. Why? Okay, somebody tell me why. Perception of value. When you look at a product 99 cents, what could this thing do for me? When you raise the price, the perception about it, okay, this is more expensive than this other guy. Look at it. I have a feeling that this may be a little better. Then yes, I mean, apparently it's better. People are buying it. Please.
There's a very similar example when BA started the Concorde service. They priced it pretty comparable to a first class ticket, and then they were, I think they were losing money, and they were like looking at, okay, how do we fix this? So they went and did a customer looked at their demographic, and they found out that most of their demographic doesn't book their own tickets. They get their secretary or whoever, personal assistant, and then they said, okay, what do you think this ticket is worth? And then they came up with like 10, 15 grand, and they were like, wow, we can really charge that? And then they revised their pricing upward.
I mean, isn't that just a perfect example that price is not value?
Yeah, of course, price is not value. Yes, and in fact, the app they're selling the most, they have 10 apps. The price, the app they're selling, and it's hard for me to why am I having so much problems to explain this to them, since they are the perfect example. They have 10 apps. They range price 99 cents to $30. Guess which one's selling the most? The one at $30. Absolutely. They're selling at least, I think, 5 or so a day. Why? Can someone tell me why without knowing anything about the app?
Again, it's the perceived value.
It's not just perceived. They know exactly how valuable this thing is. They've done their homework. They know exactly what this thing does, the competition price. They know where the competitor's price is. They know where they are to the competition, and they could put the price at $30 without blinking an eye, and boom. They know exactly where the value point is, but they know it. And the others, they're still stumbling around the dark. For all the others, are still like.
Actually, it's interesting to look at the iPhone apps because it reflects the early days of personal computers where you had just everybody pumping software out there onto the market, and most of it was crap. Most of it didn't work well, and then you had this evolution of people beginning to charge for things, and now you reach the point where the home software, average retail price is probably $39.95. For the more specialized stuff, you go up into the hundreds. I'm wondering if you see the same trend happening with the iPhone apps. Do you think that we'll end up with the cheap stuff going away?
Well, it's not going to go away ever, period, because even the cheap stuff makes money with ads and things, so it's not going to go away. I mean, this company is an example of what's coming, which is apps would be like software. I mean, software that are priced in a more realistic way to do jobs. This, by the way, these apps are not games or anything such. These are professional service, such as speech therapy, to be specific. They're for professionals on speech therapy. And that's in my mind the trend in the app market. It's going to be software that today you buy, and it's going to be an app, and it's going to be priced at regular prices: $30, $25, $50, $100. Don't be just like software, please.
In general, though, in the market of iPhone apps, since it is relatively low cost, isn't it that much more easy to have this variability in cost? It almost seems like when something is $1 versus $2 versus $3, well, just because it's so low cost to begin with, it's cheaper than a cup of coffee, the price is relatively inelastic, right? So wouldn't that change a little bit? Let's say if you're going to do an enterprise software play, if you're trying to sell your software for $500,000 versus $1 million, isn't it easier to jack up the price when you're that low cost?
Well, it's only easy if you deliver value. I mean, you still have to deliver value. I mean, no matter what you do, yes, you can play around between the $1 to $2 to $3, yeah. But if you're really going to go to $30, if you don't deliver the $30 of value, nobody's going to buy it. Period. Please.
The counter to your example is the early computers. I'm not talking PCs. I'm talking computers. When IBM came out with one of their first lines before the 360, they thought there was maybe 10 of these could be sold, and they found out when they placed it with the customer didn't blink an eye at what was an incredible amount of money back then. Because of inflation, you can't really peg the number, it doesn't mean that. And TJ Watson says, when he found out he doubled the price and the customer didn't blink an eye again, he knew he had a winner. And we're talking about like whole banking systems was what he was placing in the product. And you're talking about the value of a whole banking system, and he doubled the price, and the customers didn't change their attitude about it at all. He knew he had a very expensive system with great ability to reprice it higher. and he did so.
It's still, you still need to deliver value. I'm gonna skip all these slides. I want to touch on this. Value, I separated between hard value, please.
15 minutes.
Okay, hard value, soft value. Hard value, monetizable, immediately monetizable. Soft value, real. Don't take me wrong, I'm not saying that soft is not real, but not immediately monetizable. I'm going to use an example here, value sharing here. This is a B2B example, this is a real example. My names and numbers have changed from perfect names, of course, but this is real. Additive, B2B, paperboard manufacturing plant. Production rate, 100,000 square feet per day. If we put a magic additive in there, production went up 25%. So if you calculate the profit for paperboard, you have an increase in profit of $12,000 per day. Additive use, roughly around 2,500 pounds per day. What should the price be? How would you price this? Any comments? How would I price this?
What's your business? What's your business goal?
Make money. Business goal is make money. These are the facts. That's how am I going to price this product? He's delivering some benefit.
The highest you could price it is 12,500.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's precisely the point. You have to. The key here is the value split. How are you going to split your value with the customer? This is an easy one because it's totally monetizable. It's easy to calculate. And I love this example because we could readily set a price that we would calculate exactly how much, who's getting the value. Yes, if you price it to capture the full $12,500, 100% of the value capture is $5 a pound. Well, they're not going to buy it. Why would they buy it? You're keeping all the value. And in fact, by the way, guys, this is something that, oh man, I have so many fights about this in terms of value split. And people ask me, why aren't you capturing all the value? Well, because if you capture all the value, they're going to buy from you. You have to, so the customer has to have some of the value. Now, yes.
I mean, this is a little simplified in the sense that this assumes that there's some margin that we don't know what kind of the volume is on that. Do I actually want to capture a value split so I incentivize my customer to use more of it so that they're big real production facilities so that I can sell them more and they sell it to their competitors or whatever so that then I can grow my business? And what is my margin on the end product? Because maybe I want to go down and give them 75% of the value, but without more information, I can't make that decision.
Bottom line is that, again, I go back to separate your margin and your cost out of this. This is really, I realize you need to incorporate them later on.
Well, it's
how
an
much
interesting
profit
how you
you're
scale your
making.
business.
But we're calculating value here. We're pricing this based on value, not on cost. Your costs are irrelevant. You may not be able to afford to price it. You may not be able to price it at this price. But that's a financial calculation. That's not a value calculation. And here, what we're saying is that who's going to get how much of the value? Yes.
I guess I would kind of assume that I'd first look at the relative power between you and the buyer and sort of know what that is. But also there may be some switching costs. Yeah. So you're going to have to account for that. And
hence my point of this. There is a reason why this is yellow right here. Depending how much value you're going to give to the customer, this is the net value captured by the customer in dollars and cents in this particular example. This needs to be large enough to overcome their switching costs, their laziness, whatever, the dinners with the competition, whatever. These numbers, I don't know what the perfect answer is. I don't know. I have no idea. You need to do your homework. You need to know, do they need to have a $10,000 a day incentive for them to switch with you? Well, this is it. This is your price now, right here. But this is what you need to determine. Somehow you need to explore with the customer, what's the level of incentive they're gonna need? What's their switching cost? If they won't lift a finger for a project of less than $100,000 a year, well, you already know where this is going to have to be. If they don't lift a finger for less than $500,000 of your project benefit, you know where this needs to be. But this is where this comes from. This sets your price right here. Again, this is a simple example because it was readily monetizable and quantifiable. But now you have this number that you discuss with your customer, you learn by talking to your customer, determines your price and determines the split. So you may have to give them 75% of the value you're delivering. May not. You may find that you may be able to get away. You keep 75% of the value, and they keep 25%. I don't have an answer for you.
After you do this, do you then look at defensibility and competitive pressures? And, essentially you're redefining the problem. Now the problem is a $300 problem per day for them because you're at it and it's expensive.
Well, that's true. You're getting into game theory now, which is a whole different subject, which is that can you defend that price implication?
Right. But would that be the next step after this?
Yeah, typically, this is a big assumption embedded is you can actually, these prices, you can defend this. Either you have a patent or you have some way that the price is fixed. Otherwise, you can incorporate game theory. You have to have iterations in terms of competitive response and the difference between how that's going to turn. So, okay, guys, we're going to have to move it here. Okay, very quickly, I promise that I can touch on a couple of examples. Market perceived quality profile. Very simple tool. I love this tool when you know nothing about the market. Your boss just asks you to go into a new market, you know nothing about it. Not a very good tool from the standpoint of accuracy, but at least it helps you navigate. Very simple. Your customer is going to rank the level of importance of a particular property. In this case, I have the iPad, a notebook from Dell, Kindle, and a Droid tablet. The rank level of importance on a 1 to 10 basis, right here in this column. Then you have certain specs for each one of the products. Their rate is the spec. How they rate on a 1 to 10 basis. And then you multiply importance times rating with the weighted average rating and a total down here. An okay tool. If you know nothing, that's what I start with. Those of you who are shackled to the stage gate process, thankfully I'm no longer anymore. This is like stage 1 tool, if you want to like that language.
The attributes here, do you use like the foolish strategy market where they go out and they interview non-customers and customers that define?
Correct, you have to define this list. Yes, I'm simplifying the process. But at least this way you start getting a sense for importance, getting a sense for the accuracy, folks. I wouldn't bet the bank on what you get out of this, but at least you have something to report to management. You're doing the job. What's the problem? The real problem is this, guys. I've done these things. You get all 9s and 10s. Everything is important. We want everything. Yeah, I know that. I mean, I know my customers want they want every single property at the highest value, and they want it free. I don't need to ask them that. 5 minutes. Kano, just very quickly. I like Kano because this is a property, and if you have a chance, take a look at this property, this method, because it gives you the difference between properties of one-dimensional properties that customers will pay more for, and properties that will make customers jump up and down. Kano, next level up, market perceived quality profile. And last but not least, conjoint analysis. My favorite tool, but also a very dangerous tool. Your boss goes into a seminar and hears about, oh, I heard about this wonderful conjoint analysis, the best tool in the world. You should be using conjoint analysis. Oh, you're in trouble. Guys, I love it. It's the best tool out there. It's incredibly dangerous. If you don't do the other homework, the tools and the learning and the homework before, and you're going to jump into a conjoint without you knowing about the market, garbage in, garbage out, you're going to get something you have absolutely no clue what you got. There's no question it's the best, but it's only the best if you know, if you already did what you discussed here. You already did some prioritization, you already did interviews, you already did, because if you don't feed the right attributes and the right ranges and the right to the conjoint, my God, you're just going to get a bunch of garbage. Very quickly, just finish it up. Value box. Guys, it's just a box. This is management communication. Like I always like say, to communicate with you have to use tools that you can teach either at a level of 5-year-old or a vice president. So this is what I use. Total cost to manufacture, minimum floor price, cost to use competitive technology, full value use price. Remember, we already discussed all these things. Cost to manufacture, floor price will be return on investment, cost to use competitive technology, and full value use price. And then you start filling the gaps. The paperboard example, pretty simple. Cost of production, $1, 25% value capture, 1.3, 50%, 2.5, 100% capture, $5. Wasn't getting simpler. iPad, the one we just discussed. By the way, it's a very nice, in my Twitter, you can find a place, this very wonderful place, where these guys, for whatever reason, they tear apart gadgets and tell you how much they cost to manufacture. It's a wonderful place.
Engadget?
I don't remember, it's in my Twitter stream right there. So iPads, apparently, the iPad, the low end is $270 to manufacture. I got it out of those guys. Kindle, the low end is $259 sales price. The mini notebook, the mini 10 netbook, $279. The Droid, $399. The tablet, Kindle up high end, $489. $499 the iPad 16G. And again, you can combine all these things: value capture, cost and use competitive technology. I'm just giving you examples. You mix and match. Hopefully, we'll have time to finish this. Recently, I went to American Marketing Association with an economist talking about healthcare reform and all that. And a senior economist, he says, these manufacturing companies, I mean, the sales price is so much higher than the cost of manufacturers. I thought I will do right here. I mean, even if you don't agree with anything what I said today about value, the fact that an economist doesn't even recognize that these guys have to get their money back from their return on investment, it was mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing. I mean, I did speak to him later, and I think I kind of at least saw my point of view, but it was mind-blowing that somebody at that level be out there saying that you have to price pharmaceuticals based on cost of manufacture, even if you don't believe in value. I just made a very simple example. This, by the way, this is ulcer treatment. The numbers are just for the sake of purposes, but cost of production per dose about $1,000 or so. But then you have all the R&D that goes into it. You have to price it around $10,000 just to get your R&D back. But then if you say, do I price it on value? What's the alternative? Well, I have to have surgery. It costs $50,000 to have surgery. So if I price it at $30,000, am I doing something wrong? Am I a gouger? Am I a 1 minute. I know, I'm wrapping up. Am I a gouger because I'm pricing it at $30,000 when it costs me $1,000? Somebody help me here?
No.
Because your alternatives are more expensive.
But the problem, unfortunately, people don't like to see things this way. Right now, pharmaceutical companies are, the evil villains of healthcare reform with their price arrows. They're overcharging us.
Start at 40 and give a 25% discount.
That's it, guys. I mean, sorry I had to skip. I mean, it's again the whole point of this is a discussion. It's not supposed to be a presentation of going through all of the slides. But the key here, hopefully, if you come out of this, is again, don't think too much about cost. Don't think about value. Then see if your cost and your return on investment meets, obviously, what you can do in regards to pricing, in regards to value. Obviously, you still have to you still have to be a finance manager. That guy, it's not going to go away. But in the end, you first set your price and investment value, and then you see if your return on investment and your cost and all that fit the market. If you can do it or you cannot do it, period. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much.
We can post your slides.